Hello, and welcome back to Let's Talk Chicago Bears. It's probably the happiest you're going to see me, and I really wasn't very happy. You know what? There's not really a lot we could say about this game except for how bad it was and embarrassing, disappointing, frustrating. I want to kill someone, and I don't even like guns. I mean, it was just terrible. I mean, really, what has happened to the Chicago Bears? They have, they have disintegrated. They have, you know, all the shit that went on last week in Helen Ellis Hall. I think contributed to it. I think and I hate to say this, but I think the public has a right to know why the defensive coordinator Alan Williams resigned. I think we have every right to know, and I think it screwed things up worse than they already were. And I think the coaching is terrible, which we're going to get into. But yesterday was, I don't know, it was just, the fans deserve so much more. And so I'm not even going to feel sorry for the players because they sucked. I didn't even see a team hustling out there yesterday, and I'm going to call out a few of them. Okay, let me just get a few stats. I only put a few stats in because there's just no point in going over because we know how bad it was, okay? So I am going to do my threes. You know my threes: time of possession, penalties, turnovers. If you win these, you got a damn good chance to win the game. And the Bears have not won all three of these. They've won one out of the three the last 3 weeks. And again, they lost all three. So the Bears' time of possession was 23 minutes to Kansas City's 36. No shocking there. You're going to let Patrick Mahomes on the field. He's going to do exactly what they did to us. Actually, I give Andy Reid a little credit, little class. He could have ran it up higher, and he didn't. I mean, they took Patrick Mahomes out. I think when he hurt his ankle, I would have pulled him out right then, but they let him play a little bit more, and then they pulled him out. They lost penalties. I allow for 5 or less. They only had 6, but they were bad, and they lost. Philadelphia. I'm thinking about tonight's game. Kansas City only had 3. But out of those 6 penalties the Bears had, 2 of them were delay of games, which you should not be having ever, let alone in week 3. And actually, Justin could have had more because I watched that count clock, and it was close to 0 several times, and they did not get called for it. So, and we're going to talk about those delay games in a minute, but that is unacceptable. Unacceptable. Cripe. And then Kansas City only had 3 penalties, and all 3 of them they were on the defense, the Bears, and wait a minute, what am I thinking? I am so turned around because I'm so upset. Okay, so on the out of the 6 penalties the Bears had, 2 were delay of games, and 3 out of the 6 were on defense, and that gave Kansas City 3 first downs off of defensive penalties. What the fuck? I mean, I hate them, and you know what? It's just lack of discipline. Knowing what you should be doing and discipline. I mean, there's no excuse for it. Especially when you're playing a team like Kansas City. Turnover battle, it was tied. They had 2, we had 2. When we got those 2 interceptions, it was the end of third and fourth quarter. Didn't make a damn good difference. And it was their second string quarterback throwing them. So who fucking cares? Of course, we had 2 turnovers. Justin throws another interception, and Herbert fumbles the ball. Right when we're moving to. So, the threes. Okay. Just another little stat that's going to piss you off. We had a total of 99 yards passing, if you can fucking believe it. Didn't even make 100. Kansas City had 303. We had 116 yards rushing. Most were by Justin when he decided to start to take off. And Kansas City, not a shock here, had 153 because our defensive line can't stop a crawling baby. God's sake. So Fields passed for 99 yards. He rushed for 47. He had one interception and was sacked 3 times. I mean, are you fucking kidding me? Herbert and Johnson, I still think should have been handed off the ball more. Maybe more designs for Justin to run. I'm not a running quarterback fan, but obviously Justin can't stand in the pocket. And our offensive line wasn't terrible. There was a couple times they didn't do great, but they're doing the best they can. You can't hold on to the ball all day. It just can't happen. And then the defense. Oh my God. They were so bad. So bad. There were so many missed tackles, wide open wide receivers, and I'm calling out 3 defensive players that I saw, and I'm sure there would have been more, but these 3 really stuck out to me that they did not finish a play when they had a chance or make the play. 96 Perkins, he's a D lineman, terrible. He let some guy, he was just not hustling. I was seeing him. He was hustling after, I think, Fields at one point, and he just wasn't running. He was just kind of standing there waiting to see what Fields was going to do. He ended up running out of bounds, but terrible. You don't even get an F. You get a Z for the worst. I don't know why I said Z. Then number 39, Blackwell. He's a D-back, and horrible. Same thing. Not finishing the plays, not even playing 100%. None of these 3 I'm mentioning did not play 100%. Again, excuse me for my cough. Still COVID related. Terrible. He was running down somebody, and at that point, after a while, I stopped taking notes. I like to take little notes to remind myself. These 3, though, I did write down. I don't know who he was, but he just did not complete the process. And then number 32, Smith, another D-back, terrible. He had this guy right there and just let him go right by him. I mean, do these guys not want to play in the NFL? I mean, it's to the point where maybe you need to just start fucking releasing some of these guys and bring guys from the practice squad. It cannot be any goddamn worse than it is now. Seriously, right? Bears have got to make a statement. Okay? I'm going to continue about bad play. We know what Herbert did, and I am a huge fan of Herbert. I think he's a great running back, but he fumbled at a bad time. He was making yards, and he fumbled. You can't do that. Number 2, Moore. He dropped a pass that Justin couldn't have thrown any better. Just dropped the pass. I know he made that one-handed one late in the game. So fucking what? I could do that when it doesn't count. That's real easy to do. And then, of course, Claypool dropped another one. And those were just 2 dropped really good passes that he should have had. But still, they make a difference if you catch them. I mean, you are not seeing hustling by anybody out there. Nothing at all. They do, and I know Nate Davis was not in because he didn't practice all week, but I sure like to see him, and I'm sure we're going to see him in next week. Again, the offensive line wasn't great, but they weren't the problem, in my opinion. The problem, number 1, defense is god-awful. They can't tackle. The offensive D-line is terrible. It is definitely no better than last year. And we signed all these new players. What the hell, Poles? You're turning out to be sucky at this job. And then the backfield, wide open wide receivers again. I mean, I'm shocked, although Mahomes has a lot more class than this, that he wasn't laughing and doing more out there because he's a pretty classy guy. I got to tell you, his parents raised a really good young man there from top to bottom. And, he had all day. He could have probably thrown left-handed. I don't know if he's right-handed or left-handed, but you know what I mean? And the Bears, the defense was so bad, so bad. I don't even think they knew what they were doing out there. And then, of course, we get one fucking touchdown with 4 minutes left in the game. And then at that point, Kansas City had their second string defense in. So whippy the fuck do. I mean, oh my God. Even the announcer, Greg Olson, who used to be a tight end of ours many, many years ago until that one coach got released, sent him to New Orleans, which we probably did him a favor. He even said the offensive play calling is really bad. It's too vanilla. Kansas City knows exactly what they're doing, and he's not giving his play calling is not giving his wide receivers, tight ends, opportunity to even fool anybody, get open. I mean, why are they not open? Are they open and Fields isn't doing it? Is it bad play calling, putting them in a position that every goddamn defense knows they're going to do? That's what I think it is, and it's just frustrating as hell. And so you can't get into a rhythm. Fields can't get into a rhythm. That's the thing about quarterbacks. They need that rhythm. They need that flow. Like if you're starting a game and the quarterback had a bad game the week before, a lot of the OCs, smart ones, do a couple easy, small passes, get that rhythm going, get the quarterback into the rhythm. The Bears don't ever do that. They don't do that. They don't get him. Don't even allow him to get into a rhythm. I mean, what the hell? I mean, when the TV announcers are calling you out, that is really bad. Getsy, you don't get it. You don't get it. And in my opinion, Getsy should have been fired this morning. It hasn't happened as of yet. I really do think he needs to be fired. I don't think he knows what the hell he's doing. He doesn't know his quarterback. At this point, you got to let Fields be Fields. Whether we like it or not. Otherwise, sit him. You know what I mean? If you're not going to play the way he should be playing, then fucking sit him and put Badgett in there and see what he's got. I mean, I just don't get it. The play calling is horrible. And then the defense. The Bears play what you call zone cover 2 defense, and let me tell you, it ain't working for this team at all. I mean, the last 3 games, I have read during the week that all 3 teams said they knew exactly what the Bears were doing on defense. So the Bears, the opponent's offense knew what the Bears were doing, and it was easy because obviously all their wide receivers the last 3 games have been open. So this coverage that he likes, and you know what? I'm not great on describing it. You got to go read about it. I have read about it. Basically, you're covering your man for man, and the Bears. Everybody knows it, and they're fooling nobody. And the fact that they don't have a D line that can pressure the quarterback consistently and actually get to him makes that a problem in the backfield. So you can't play this kind of defense anymore. Of course, they're not going to change it. We don't even have fucking D coordinator. So now we've got Flus, who can't even control the team. Now he's running our defense. I mean, it was terrible. I mean, the defense is worse, I believe, than last year, and that was pretty damn bad, okay? We're at the bottom of every stat game after game 3, yeah. And what was really bad is we had some injuries yesterday. Brisker, number 9, did go out, but he came back in and finished the game. Number 29, Stevenson, our D-back guy, he got hurt. Went out, came back, and then got hurt again and never came back. And then number 33, Jalen Johnson, he left the game, never came back. I mean, that really hurt. We were already terrible back there, and then we lose some decent guys. I mean, so the bottom line is the Bears are in disarray. And what I believe Coach Flus has lost this team, and it's only week 3. I completely, it's reminding me of the Trustman years, and I didn't think that could get any worse, and now we're back. I mean, Trustman lost that team his last year, and it was awful, the things that were going on, and I believe that Coach Flus has. I don't think he's got I don't know. You don't see him getting mad. I was saying to my son, do you think at halftime or after the games, as he gets mad and he screams at people, and he's like, no. I said, I don't either. He looks like an analytical guy. Well, we don't want a fucking analytical guy. We want a guy that's gonna bring us a W, like Dan Campbell in Detroit. Look at how he's turned. We are turning into the new Detroit of our division and football. We need a coach that's got passion, like the old days of Ditka. And I'm not big on reliving, but you know what I mean? When somebody did, he would grab them when they came off the field and he would tell them, listen, young man, blah, 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 blah. I don't think anybody's being made accountable on this team, and that starts with the head coach. You know what he said in his press conference yesterday? It was one of the shortest press conferences I've ever seen, which I obviously don't blame him, but he kept saying, question after question, it's a process. It's a process. It's a new team. It's a process. It's fucking game 3, asshole. God, and then what really, really got my goat when they were asking him about the delay of game penalties, which I say they should have been charged with more, but whatever, it was only 2. You know what he said? He said, oh, that happens in a game. I know. See, I was quiet, and that doesn't happen. That's how pissed off I was when he said it. I mean, I was so mad. I'm sure my face was red. Nothing came out of my mouth. And that does not happen. I'm pretty sure you know by if you watch me with me, Lynn. I've always got something to say. Whether it's right or wrong, I'm going to say it. For that alone, fucking fire him. No. Penalties are unacceptable, period. But delay of games, to me, you just don't do this. This is game 3. Don't give me that shit. Game 3, year 3 for Fields, no delay of games. And it happens. This happens too, Floos. Okay. I'm telling you, I am just... So, I drank the Kool-Aid. I'm sad to say, I'm not usually that fooled. I like to think I'm not, although I am old and my brain is pickled. And so when you get older, you do chill out. This is chill out, Lynn, mad. You should see me 10 years ago, 20 years ago. I'd be losing it. I mean, I probably would have thrown this laptop across the room. Thank God back in the day when the Bears were bad, I had such a bad temper when they lose. We used to watch TVs. They didn't have flat screens. They had those big honking ones. There was a couple times I went over to that TV and I wanted to pick it up and throw it, and my husband would just laugh and like, thank God it weighs like 50-something pounds. But it's true. And thank God I don't own a gun. But it's bad play calling on the defense and the offense. Terrible. I drank the Kool-Aid. I'm not drinking it anymore. Floos is not the answer. I mean, you just don't see any passion in him. And it's a process. And we're still working together. What is preseason and off-season training for? Duh. God, even our last coach wasn't that bad. I mean, he may have rambled a lot, but he didn't say stupid ass shit like, oh, well, delay a game, penalties happen, and, it's a process. Oh, man. So, I just don't see, I really believe that Floos has lost this team. I think the Bears coaching staff has lost the team. The problem here is, like I said, the Bears got to make some kind of statement. I think they need to fire Getsy. I really don't see any other choice because you can't fire Floos. The reason you can't fire Floos is we have no D coordinator. So now he's wearing both hats and he's sucking at both of them. He already sucked at head coach going into this year, and now he's sucking as D coach. So you can't fire him. I mean, I would love for them to fire him, but they have nobody else. And that's probably what they're thinking with Gatesy. We've got nobody else to replace him. But they got to make some kind of a statement. They've got to show this team we're not putting up with lackluster play. And let me tell you, lackluster play is putting it nicely from what I saw yesterday. I don't see players out there. I watch so much football and so many good teams and even average teams. and they're hustling, and you can see them. They're hustling and they're going after. You don't see that on the Chicago Bears. What happened? The Chicago Bears used to have defenses that people were fucking afraid of. Offenses that would win us games, but not offenses that everybody knew what you were doing every damn play. And, I know we've had a million quarterbacks, but you know what? This experiment is up as far as I'm concerned. So you either got to let Justin be Justin and call plays that the whole goddamn league doesn't know you're calling. Let him either run, let him throw, whatever, but let him or replace him. You can't go on like this and saying it's a process. You know what I think of the process? Boom! That's what I think it is. The Bears are embarrassing, disappointing, maddening, infuriating. They suck. And they're not playing 100%. And it shows. And that's when you know the coach has lost the team. He has lost the team. I don't know what the Bears organization is going to do. I mean, they have to make a statement. And then maybe they need to cut some players that they signed in the offseason. Some players that they thought they gave them big money and it's not doing it, like 91. I think it's time to cut that asshole. He don't deserve $10.5 million. He sucks. God, remember last week when he had Baker Mayfield in his arms and let him go for no sack? Actually, twice he almost did that last week. I don't know where. I saw him in the game. I didn't see him doing shit yesterday. At this point, fire him and save yourself some money. Maybe you can go pick somebody up, put somebody in the practice squad. You never know. You might find somebody. They've got guys sitting on the bench who would love to get in. So let's see what they got. They have got to make some kind of a statement, people. And if it's releasing players, then so be it, because I want them to fire Getsy, as I said, but I just don't think it's going to happen because, who do they have? People are already going into week 4 talking about us getting the number 1 draft pick. I don't want to talk about that. Cripe, it's week 4. I don't want to go through another season like, oh, we're going to get the number 1 draft pick. And then, bring another quarterback that they're going to fuck up. And the guy in UCL, I saw him play Saturday night, looks okay. I'm going to watch him next week. He's playing Colorado this coming week on Saturday, so I'm going to watch that game. But I think I've heard he doesn't want to come to Chicago. That's the thing. The Bears can't sign really good players because no one wants to come here because we're a fucked up organization. And you know what? I love my Bears, and I don't talk like that too often, but what the hell? I mean, what does Flus say to the team at halftime when you're losing? God, what was it at that point? 35-0? I think so. Let's just say it doesn't matter. What do you say to him? I'd be ripping him a new one and be like, okay, you're sitting out, you're playing. No, he's probably in there, well, it's a process, you guys, and I know we're down, but you know what? I'm sure we can come back, Fuck you, man. I mean, come on. They promised us a better team in 2023, and we're not seeing anything close to being better. I mean, I really can't, I'm just going to beat the dead horse here, and so the Bears, thank God they didn't play at home last week. Well, they're coming home. I think 2 games. I think they're home for 2 games. I know for sure this Sunday they're playing Denver, who got creamed 70-20 yesterday. Yeah. So it's going to be 2 really bad, pissed off teams playing on Sunday in Soldier Field. So it's going to be really interesting to see what the fans do. And I'm not a believer of booing, but I have a feeling there's going to be a lot of booing going on there. Bears fans are very, very loyal, and they have been for years and years. And these Bears players and organization don't get it. And they're letting us down. They're not putting an NFL team on the field. They're just not. And you know what? If they get booed and whatever because they look terrible, then they deserve it. They just don't look prepared. They don't look like they know what they're doing. I mean, and I swear to God, if I see Taylor Swift one more damn time, I don't know what I'm going to do. First of all, I'm not into pop music. I'm 65. I'm a rock and roller. I love 60s, 70s, and 80s music. I mean, I love some bands from the 90s and 2000s, but it's rock and roll for me. So, and I know she's very talented and a bazillionaire, but I don't give a shit. I don't want to see Taylor Swift every other commercial, coming back from every other commercial, and the TV announcers, they're all having a great time. Ha ha ha! Look at Taylor Swift and Mrs. Kelsey. Ha ha! They weren't even talking about the game. That's how bad the game was, and that's embarrassing. And fuck you, Taylor Swift. Stay. I don't like you. I really don't care about Taylor Swift. She's just a good excuse to blame. Hey, she's dating a really good tight end. What are you gonna do, right? But it was just from beginning to end terrible. I mean, the first two drives the defense had were not that bad. The first one they stopped them. The second one they did go and score, but they were playing pretty well, and then all hell just broke loose. But the offense never looked good. I never saw anything that even looked decent. I mean, it just looked like they never had a chance. I mean, this organization has got so many problems from top to bottom, and how do you address them honestly? Like I said, what I would do, let's say if we had all our ducks in a row, we had a defensive coordinator, we had an offensive coordinator, but they both suck too. But I would fire the head coach right now. Flus would be gone this morning, but they can't, again, because we have no D coordinator. So now he's got to do both, which I know. See, the Bears do not fire coaches during the season. It's just a fact. They just don't. They're one of the few teams in the NFL that has not done that. I think they did it once in their history, but that's it. They are just not like that. And you know what? They got to do something. And somebody has got to make a statement here, and Getsy's the one, to me, seems to be the one they should have. I mean, the fact that we haven't heard him fired today. Now, I'm recording this at 1 o'clock Vegas time, which is 3 o'clock Chicago time. So maybe now he's being fired, but I doubt it. If they were going to fire him, he would have been fired this morning. That would have been the first thing out of Hallis Hall. So, I mean, what do the Bears players do when they sit with the coaches and watch that game? What do you think they say? What do you think they're all like having milk and cookies, and Coach Flus is like, oh, well, you just missed them, and oh, that delay a game, I know it happens, Ooh, who else wants some Oreos? I if you watch my show, I've been a pen pal with George McCaskey, the president of the Bears, head man. And I started writing him at the end of the Trustman years. I hand wrote him letters, and I kept mailing him until somebody answered, and then he finally did. That was my first letter. I've got 3 letters up on my thing here. They're all from George McCaskey that he hand wrote me. And last year, in 2021, I wrote him and asked him if he'd do my show. I said, I won't be mean, just 10 minutes. And he wrote me back. And he said, it's a complicated question, so please give me a call. He gave me his phone number, his office phone number. Yeah, no, I'm not kidding. I still have it, which I have never given out to anybody, and I will not. And I've never used it. And I will tell you, nice man. The Raiders Chicago came to Vegas in 2021, and my son and I got to go see him. But the week of the Raiders game, McCaskey had somebody from their, I can't remember what department, call and made sure I got tickets. And I said, he goes, Mr. McCaskey said the last time you talked to him in beginning of August, you didn't have tickets, you couldn't afford them because they were $400. And I said, yeah, I can't afford that. It turns out my son's father-in-law, God bless him, John, thank you, he had season tickets, so he let me and my son use them. So we got to go. But the Bears called to make sure I had tickets. So, good, nice things. Anyways, the story is, I want to use that phone number now and call George and tell him what I think. My son says I should wait a game or 2 more because he says you're so upset. You want to be real smart in what you say, and he's right. And one of the viewers wrote a comment, said, Boy, how about you give the Bears an inspirational speech? How about you do that? You know what? I could. I could give them such a good speech. I bet I'd have them crying. I swear to God, I bet you $100 I could get them crying. I bet. I just know it. But so I'm gonna wait a week or two and see, and then I'm gonna use that phone number. I am, and I won't swear. I promise. But at the end of the day, there's really nothing else I can say. You could say I'm really pissed off, disappointed, hurt, feel sort of like we're being taken advantage of. You know what I mean? Like, we drank the Kool-Aid and they said all the right words just to drag us along, right? They said all the right stuff. And this dumbbell fell for it. Well, no more. Flus is out. A lot of people are starting to talk about Harbaugh again. And before I was like, nope. But you know what? I see that man on the sidelines on Michigan on Saturdays with college, and when he was in San Francisco. And one of the reasons I think he got fired is because of his passion was a little too much. But that's what we need in Chicago. We need that again. We need it like Ditka gave it to us, like Lovie Smith. The rest of the coaches after that have never called the players out, not making them accountable, not showing it in front of us, pulling them off the sideline, let everybody see them get yelled at. Nope. They're just kissing and hugging and, oh, it'll be all right. Oh, poor Justin. Oh, poor defense. Fuck you all. So, obviously, it's bad. We're going into week 4. We haven't won since October of 2022. And for just 1 second, I feel sorry for the players. It's got to suck to be on that team. It's got to suck. But people in that locker room, somebody needs to stand up and slap the shit out of every player on that team and say, we're getting paid a lot of money. We're in the NFL, and we played for the Chicago Bears, and we're not showing it. No. There was a time, like I've said before, people wanted to come to the Bears. That's why I believe the Bears cannot sign really good prospects in the offseason, because nobody wants to play here anymore. Everybody knows it's a fucked up organization. And I'm so disappointed, and I don't understand it. I don't know what went wrong. It's been going on for too long. And people say they need to sell the team. Yeah, that would probably change things, but it's not going to happen, people. Just like they're not going to fire Flus, which I would love for them to do. And if they do fire Flus, I will have a parade. 76 trombones led the big parade with 101 cornets, fans behind. I'm trying to make you laugh. That's from a movie a long time ago. But I would have a parade, but I just, as I said, I don't see how that can happen. But Getsy's got to go. Getsy's got to go. Anybody who's in that stands next Sunday, start chanting, Getsy's got to go. Getsy's got to go. Getsy don't get it. Getsy don't get it. Now I'm just repeating myself, so I'm going to stop. And, the other thing is, every time the Bears lose, I lose viewers. I know, which is just not my fault. I'm not the one losing. Actually, I think I make you guys laugh. I'm pretty hoping that today's show made you laugh a little and try to, calm the anger down and be ready for next week. I saw one fan from another team said, don't go to the games, don't buy the merchandise, don't buy the NFL package. Well, and then the team will pay attention. If you had everybody doing it, that would work, but it's just not going to happen. The thing with the Bears, they're always sold out, so those tickets, even if they don't go, they've already got their money, so they don't care. They don't care if you bought those tickets and don't show up. They don't give a crap, okay? It's not like in baseball, where they start to get the hints, because there's 162 games in baseball and they don't sell out. There's only, 8 games, 9 games in your home stadium. And if you go to the playoffs, it's different. So, those sell out fast and they're not cheap. And the Bears are not putting the product on the field. Those people should all get a refund who bought tickets this year. Yeah. Exactly. And next year, the Bears should reduce their price for tickets. But that's here nor there. So, You know what? There's really no point. I've discussed everything. You know, I'm pissed. You know, I'm disappointed. I'm hurt. I'm just so sad though. It breaks my heart at the end of the day. It really does, because I really do love them. I'm a loyal as loyal can be, and it won't change. And that really makes me sad too. All right. I just want to thank everybody who watches me. I appreciate it. I say it every show, and I really, really mean it. It's not easy this season. That's why I keep losing viewers, but that's all right. But if you do watch me, make sure you tell your friends to watch me. I'm fun. And I'm going to give you the facts, and I'm going to tell you how it is. I didn't get into too many stats because there's just really no point when the game is 10-41. And it could have been 10-70 like the Miami game, but I think Andy Reid was just being respectful. I really do, which most coaches don't do that anymore. So, but shows you what a class organization Kansas City is, and the Chicago Bears aren't. And for a long time, it was always the Chicago Bears. We're the new Detroit. All right. And as always, I end my show. Be kind to one another, love one another, respect people, stop hate. Let's gather around and come together for each other. Hard times out there, hard conditions, and it's hard being a Bears fan. And especially Bears fans, stick together. We got to do it together. We can get through the hard times with the Bears and the world if we do it together. It's just easier to be nice than disrespectful and mean. And pay attention to your surroundings. I notice more and more people are so into what they're doing. They're either on their phone or, like, I was at a festival the other night, and and there's not a lot of room. There's a lot of vendors, and there's these people that were just standing right in the middle of the aisle just talking. And it was really screwing things up because people are trying to get around with kids stuff, and they're trying to push their kids in their strollers. Can't say the word stroller. And they're just standing there oblivious. Pay attention. It's not always about you. It's about all of us. Isn't that the truth? Just love. And tell everybody about my show. I mean, I'm worth a watch, whether the Bears are good or bad. And stay tuned to see if when I do make that call to Georgia McCaskey, which is going to happen. I didn't make it today. I'm going to type it out so I know what I'm going to say. I didn't make it today because my son's like, pump the brakes, wait. He's getting it. And I said, you're right. He's got to worry about the team, not about what Lynn Hayden has to say. Okay? So I love you guys. Stay tuned to see what I do with George and that phone call. And go Bears. I will see you if you want to. I do a podcast on Wednesday with my very good friend Dan. It's called Bears Country Podcast, The Lowdown with Lynn. I'm sure there's going to be a lot of yelling. It's on 6 Eastern, 5 Central, and 3 Western. And I will be back Friday to break down the show for Sunday's game against Detroit. Denver. Pickled. I had a few beers. I had to open beers. That's the other thing. One last thing. Now I know I've been drinking all my life. I've been a fan for 48 years. That explains it. All right. Go Bears. And as always, keep on rocking and rolling from Vegas, baby.